Okay, welcome everybody. Warren Gatland and Sam Warbuton. So first question over to broadcast if we have one. Sav, please, thank you.
Warren, do you see that as a win or just a drawn series? How happy, how disappointed?
I suppose we'll reflect on tonight and to say, given the schedule, given how tough the tour was, to come to New Zealand and draw in the series, you know, you've got to be pretty proud of that. I think both teams would be a little bit frustrated, thinking, you know, a win would have been nice, but you know, we felt we didn't play that well tonight. And I was talking to Wayne Smith afterwards, and you know, it was sort of a team for defence. Yeah, it was a game for defences tonight, and there were a lot of turnovers by both teams, and hadn't realised until after the game that, you know, how slippery the ball was. You know, it was very greasy out there. But if you'd said 6 weeks ago, come to New Zealand, draw a Test series, you'd probably take that. And we've felt as a team that we've learned a heck of amount on this tour. The quality of opposition that we've played, we've been lucky we haven't picked up too many injuries, and we've felt that we've got better as a squad as the tour's gone on, and that's because we've been really tested and pushed, and we've learnt from, you know, the quality of the opposition that we've come up against, and that's put us in good stead. And you know, particularly go through periods, the All Blacks threw everything at us in that first 20 minutes, and we hung in there, and that's kind of what good teams do. You know, they hang in there, and we spoke at half time, so we knew we hadn't played that well in the first half, but we were still in the game at 12-6.
What was your initial thought with the offside call at the end? Did you think, I know that's a penalty?
I thought it was a penalty to us. I thought Kieran Reid's run jumped into, you know, I don't think he's got any chance of getting his hand on that. So that was my initial thought, that he's hit the player in the air. But look, I can understand that, saying that he's competed for that, and the ball's come and then, you know, landed in Ken Owen's arms. And in fairness to the man next to me, he's been quite smart and astute and been able to talk the referee from a penalty into an accidental offside. And so, you know, we would have been devastated as a group if we had lost the game from that kick-off. But so, you know, I was disappointed with the scrum penalty and under the post, and it swings and roundabouts. You sometimes get calls that go for you and get calls that go against you, and I thought, you know, the result was probably a fair reflection of where the tour is, and two quality sides who really went hard at each other tonight.
Nick.
Warren, would you want any kind of extra time in that situation? Would you like to think that might happen?
No.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It's just obviously it's so unusual for it's only the second ever drawn series.
Drawn series, yeah. You know, I think those provisions are going to be put in place beforehand. You know, I think all of us. I was asked, you know, after the game, if it was extra time, would you be happy for that? And I said, yeah, absolutely, because, you know, you have that winning mentality, you want to win a game. And I spoke to, you know, Steve Hansen after the game. His first comment to me was, "It feels like kissing your sister, doesn't it?" So, in terms of the result, but yeah, I think, look, for us to come here to New Zealand against back-to-back world champions and draw a series, I think is an unbelievable achievement, considering that we were completely written off. Everyone was talking about this being a 3-0 whitewash, and this group of players have shown unbelievable character, and you know, in the face, it's been tough. You know, it's been a tough tour in terms of the effort and the workload on all the staff in terms of preparing two teams a week, and you know, the staff have been down 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 or 8 o'clock at night every day, working their butts off in terms of doing that preparation, and the players have been brilliant role models. This is the hospitality in New Zealand has been exceptional. As a Kiwi, I'm biased, but it's the most beautiful country in the world. And but I'd just say the public, the New Zealand public, have been very, very hospitable, and we've had, everywhere we've been, there's been nothing but goodwill from rugby fans. And this is tonight, and the occasion tonight, and the atmosphere is what makes the Lions so special and so unique.
The Barbarians play the All Blacks in November. Any chance that you could play them then instead?
Yeah, it would be good, wouldn't it? Yeah, maybe we should think about that. I don't know if you have to ask PRL whether they'd release any of the players. So.
Warren, you came in here wearing a red nose, I suppose poking fun perhaps at some of the treatment that you've received whilst you've been over here. Do you think this series and the way the Lions have played it, do you think you've maybe won back a bit of respect?
Did we have to earn respect?
Well, I just remember you saying at the start of the series that you wanted to build bridges after 2005.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was for New Zealand, and we think we've done that. A big part of 2009 and my involvement in South Africa in 2009 was they were talking about that potentially being the downfall of the Lions on that tour to South Africa, and our whole focus on that was getting respect back into and doing that and back into the jersey. And then the focus in about 2013 in Australia was going there to win a series, and the same. Our focus was we realised we had to build a few bridges here in New Zealand from 2005. We think that we've done that. This group of players and the whole management, I think, have been great tourists. New Zealand fans and public have taken us to their hearts, and I think the Lions fans have just been absolutely outstanding as well. It's been a great series, and what was disappointing for me was to see how much negativity was out there, because I think we should embrace this. This is brilliant, and the amount of people that have contacted me, or ironically, I think the negativity had turned a lot of Kiwis off supporting the All Blacks, and they were very much hoping that we would do well, and that they felt that as a team and as a tour that we'd embrace New Zealand, and had played some pretty good rugby and had earned respect in that way. So but it's finished now, so we'll just enjoy the next couple of days as a squad and reflect back on what this group of players have achieved. And it's difficult as a Lions player, and some of these players have been on 2 tours now and are undefeated as Lions tourists, and that's pretty special. It doesn't happen very often, and they should be, those players that have been on 2 tours should be very, very proud of what they've done for themselves and for the Lions.
Johnny and then Steve.
Warren, was it your idea to wear the clown's nose, or did someone else goad you into it?
That was my idea, yeah.
When did you get it? When did you pick it up?
I had it last week, but I didn't think it was the right time to wear it last week. So,
Stephen.
Warren, before the tour, you said that you'd given up writing reports after the tour because no one ever listened to them. No one gave you the Lions a fair shake, or even gave you 1 day's extra preparation. Are you going to bother to write a tour report this time?
I've been assured that people will take notice of it this time. So I was asked to do one last time, and I said I'm wasting my time. I said I can do the tour report in 3 words, and the 3 words were preparation, 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 and just being fair treatment. So I think they had a board meeting yesterday, and they talked about the future of the Lions, and so if they give me that assurance that they'll take notice of the opinions of myself and the other coaches in the future, and maybe you've got to do things a little bit differently. New Zealand's, out of the 3 countries, is the most difficult to come to and prepare, because you go to South Africa and you're in the same time zone, and you don't have the problems with jet lag and stuff, and it's a little bit easier to get there and do that. So, but we need to be conscious of when you're putting in the new agreement between the Lions and SANZAR, that they make sure that they put all those provisions in, and when do we need to start negotiating with the home unions and the clubs about some adequate time for preparation. Not being stupid, just saying, I think if you were here for a week before the first game, you had a week together in the UK and Ireland, and I think that's That's not a hard ask. I think it's reasonable and something that we should fight for as hard as we possibly can.
Will?
Warren, can you clear something up for us? Did Alan Wynne-Jones go for an HIA when he came off?
He did, yeah.
And he obviously passed that.
He passed that, yes.
So he wasn't knocked out?
No.
And Sam as well, you took a blow at the end. How are you? Were you knocked out as well?
No, with that, it's more precautionary. As soon as they see anybody take a little bit longer than usual to get up off the ground, they check you out straight away just to be better safe than sorry. And I passed it easily. You know, everything I did, I got 100%, and I felt absolutely fine to go back on the field to play, and still feel fine now. So, just a precaution. But I think it's better safe than sorry when it comes to potential head injuries.
I think just for their medics, any clash to the head of the player, that they're the ones who are saying that they want to check the player out for an HIA, and I think it's right and proper. It's safety first and making sure that the players are fine. And I think the HIA has been done by independent doctors. It's not been done by our own doctors, and the independent doctors have then cleared the players to go back on the field.
Warren, have you any idea how serious Sean O'Brien's injury is? Is it something that will require an operation, do you think? Or?
Spoke to him just before coming to the press conference, and he said it's a little bit better than it was at half-time. We tested him at half-time, he just didn't have any power. He said the last 5 or 6 minutes of the half he had no power in his left shoulder. He's had an operation on there before, so he said we'll just see how he turns up tomorrow. Hopefully he hasn't had too much to drink. So, and we'll probably look to get him scanned and to see what I think he said something. He's got a piece of his hip in there or something like that. They've replaced a bit of bone in the past. So, but he said it has improved since half time anyway.
Warren, with regards to the future of the Lions, have you had a chance to have a look at the proposed changes with the global calendar beyond 2020? And do you see a nice window that maybe might make what you were talking about before a little bit easier to provide?
No, I haven't had a good look at that in terms of the proposed calendar. I think once it's put in place, then you need to look at where the Lions can fit in. This tour is unique, and obviously after hopefully the success of the tour in terms of the fans and the atmosphere in the games and how brilliant the atmosphere has been is, I think if you're South Africa, you'd be pretty excited about a tour to South Africa in 4 years' time. So and hopefully, there might need to be a little bit of jigging with the clubs in the UK and Ireland in terms of maybe one midweek match or something like that, or to push things forward a little bit. And all we're asking for them is to do that every 4 years, so that Lions do get a little bit more preparation time.
Argentina, do you think they could be
I'm not. So you saying that New Zealand would agree to a tour every 16 years?
Argentina's now part of the organisation. That obviously Pichot's got a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, why not?
Graham and then Paul Hayward.
The incident where the incident where the penalty became a free kick, the offside, accidental offside. What did you say to Romain Poit at that point?
I can't remember. Right at the end of the game?
Yeah.
Just asked him to check for the accidental offside. To be honest, I can't really remember. It's a shot to nothing at that point. They awarded the penalty, and it's worth asking the question. To be fair, all game he was pretty receptive at having a look at things which happened which he might not have caught at first sight. So to be fair to him, a lot of referees I've experienced in the past would make a call and they stick to it. But I've noticed this series they've been really good in being able to go back and have a look when players come up to something. So obviously if you're questioning something 10, 15 times a game, they won't acknowledge what you say, but I kind of think less is more in those situations. So luckily he listened to the question, just have a check again. And then when you think back to the World Cup when that happened to Scotland against Australia and they kicked the penalty and Scots were angry with that, and I remember thinking there's got to be a different alternative to that because it's not a penalty offence in my opinion. So I was glad they had a look, and I'm glad that it was a scrum instead.
Paul Hayward.
Warren, apparently people back home are sort of slightly flat, but do you think they'll come to understand what an achievement it is to leave New Zealand not having lost to the All Blacks, after 3 tests with a team that was formed 6 weeks ago? Do you think people should really understand that that's quite an amazing achievement?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I can understand people, everyone feels a bit flat because you think, you want a result and stuff, but I think when we reflect back on it and go, it's pretty special to put a team together to play against the best team in the world in their backyard, and particularly here at Eden Park, where obviously they had a phenomenal record and achievement, in terms of their success over a number of years. I think we'll wake up tomorrow and think actually that's not bad. And if we had been asked 6 weeks ago, would you take a drawn series 1-1, and you'd probably say, that'd be pretty, would reflect a pretty successful tour for the Lions.
2 more, please, Laura, and then Will.
Hi, Sam. Just your take on how you felt at the full-time whistle. Would you have taken a drawn series?
It was a tough one when we awarded the penalty, and it's probably something I'll think about for a long time, whether we go for the corner and really put the foot on the throat, or do you take the 3 points? But I think it was 2 minutes to go. You're either going to, if you miss, you're probably going to get the ball back on a dropout 22, or we try and get the ball back off kick-off, which we didn't manage to collect. So I thought in that situation, better safe than sorry, get the 3 points. But yeah, they're those decisions which are 50-50. Went for a driving line out and it was successful, then who knows, but at the same time you could have lost it. So difficult decision to be in. That's what you need your other guys. You don't make that call by yourself. Most penalty decisions, there's about 2 or 3 guys who I'll consult with, make sure we're all on the same page and we move forward with that. And at that point we all agreed that the 3 points was the best decision.
Final one from Will, please.
Warren, you've been head coach for 2 tours. You've won 1, drawn 1. You had three tours as a coach as well. Are you up for it again in South Africa?
It's a lot of water under the bridge before that. I mean, Eddie's put his name forward for it, hasn't he? Look, my focus now is back to Wales and the autumn, and then looking forward to 2019. I'm definitely finishing there unless they get rid of me before that time. And then I'm not too sure what's going to happen after that, so whether I come back home or look for something else. But I might just go to the beach and put my feet up for a while. I don't know, but you never say never in terms of maybe after 2019 there's a chat and there's an opportunity to think about 2021. And to do, maybe the 3 of them as a head coach, and to win 2 and draw 1 wouldn't be a bad achievement.
No, thank you very much.